Are we on now?
Yeah.
Hello everybody, I'm Michaela the Barbie, and welcome back to a new Barbie News, Studio 9. Well, as usual, we have to start with the weather before we get to the good stuff, so let's see. Today, on Weather.com's top stories, the new interactive weather map we'll check out in a minute.
Barbie.
Severe weather threats escalate. The threat for severe weather in the central United States, including tornadoes, will increase over the next 48 hours. As you can see, I had no idea that this was actually Central America. I thought it was much higher than Texas. Also, top natural disasters in western U.S. Today marks the 50th anniversary of the Columbus Day windstorm. We take a look back at the 13th worst natural disasters in western U.S. history, which we will check out in a second. Studying autumn sunsets, which we take a look at why autumn sunsets are more vivid and share stunning sunset photos from our eyewitness contributors from around the country. Okay, let's check out these natural western disasters. Okay. Ooh, this is long. Not too long, I guess. But, get out there.
What's going on
Okay.
with these people?
When you think about natural disasters in the United States, what places do you think of? Well, you might think of the South, with its vulnerability to hurricanes from the Atlantic Ocean into the Gulf of Mexico. You might think of the Midwest, famous for its springtime tornadoes and its extremes hot and cold. You might think of the Northeast and the powerful winter storms that sometimes cripple this highly urbanized region. Well, this Friday marks the 50th anniversary of one of the most powerful storms ever to strike the United States. A storm that produced wind gusts over 170 miles per hour, damaging thousands of homes and killed dozens of people. But it wasn't a hurricane. It wasn't a nor'easter. It wasn't a tornado in the plains. The Columbus Day windstorm that struck the Pacific Northwest on October 12, 1962, was just one example of the fury Mother Nature has unleashed on the West over the course of American history. In fact, as many as my colleagues and I researched historical disasters in the West, we came up with surprising numbers of powerful, costly, and lethal calamities striking from the air above and ground below. To be sure, the West has a disproportionate share of wildfires and earthquakes, of flash floods and powerful blizzards and frequent visitors too. And at times, the West seems the kind of weather usually reserved for other regions of the country. The July 1990 hailstorm in Denver was the costliest in U.S. history at that time. 9 years later, a tornado would strike busy downtown Salt Lake City. A hurricane even hit San Diego in the 19th century. We took a look at the dates from Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and New Mexico westward to compile the following list of the 13 worst disasters in U.S. history. We factored in death and destruction to be sure, but we also considered the number of people who lived through the experience and the impact each event had on the course of future events. We began with the deadliest flash flood on record in the western U.S.
No.
Here we go with number 13. I'm only going to read a little bit at a time because I want to get through all 13. Number 13, not the worst, the Hapner flash flood of 1903. The deadliest flash flood in the history of western U.S. occurred in the north-central Oregon town of Hapner on July 14, 1903. A small but intense thunderstorm parked south of Hapner over the watersheds of Willow Creek, sending water rushing downstream. Could you please focus? A steam laundry facilities across the creek just above Hapner acted like a dam. When it burst, a massive wall of water rushed down the creek, washing away dozens of buildings. At one point, Willow Creek was carrying more water downstream per second than the much larger Willamette River typically does in June. Within an hour and a half, the creek was back within its banks, and some 247 people had lost their lives. Among flash floods in America, only the 1889 Johnston flood in Pennsylvania has taken a heavier toll on human life. Number 12. Wellington Avalanche of 1910. This picture is the Museum of History and Industry in Seattle. The nation's deadliest avalanche was the result of a relentless winter storm and a pair of standard trains. Could you focus, or we're stopping. The nation's deadliest avalanche was the result of a relentless winter storm and a pair of standard trains attempting to cross the Cascade Range. 2 trains set out from Spokane on February 23, 1910, heading for destinations near Puget Sound. But they would go no further than Wellington, a small railroad town and a narrow pass nestled in the Cascades of western Washington. A ferocious storm was dumping snow faster than railroad crews could clear the tracks. Believing the storm would last no more than a day or two, like many others, the conductors decided to wait out the storm. Fearful of avalanches, passengers tried in vain to have the trains move in a nearby tunnel for safety. Railroad officials feared the poorly ventilated tunnels would result in asphyxiation of all on board, so the trains remained in the open. The storm would not let up. Snow continued for days. As a plume of warm air invaded, the snow changed to rain on February 28th, destabilizing the masses of snow on the slopes above Wellington. Early on March 1st, a slab of snow broke loose, possibly as a result of lightning strike. 40 feet of snow barreled down the mountain, sending the trains tumbling into the Tye River Valley, 150 feet below. As many as 101 passengers and crew perished. The loss of life could have been even worse, the avalanche narrowly missing most of Wellington, including the hotel where many stranded travelers took refuge. Number 11. Hurricane Iniki of 1992. And a video.
1992. A tropical storm is brewing out in the Pacific Ocean. The storm will strengthen and take a sharp turn to the north to become the most powerful hurricane on record to make landfall in Hawaii. Iniki.
There's still a lot of folks on Kauai that actually remember the storm, and they remember it fairly vividly. You know, the folks that were around.
A tornado?
No, a hurricane.
And damage that still persists to this day.
Hurricane Iniki slams into the Kauai coastline, blocking sustained winds of 130 miles an hour. People who live on this lush island, known for its trade winds and stunning scenery, are left scrambling. Iniki causes widespread damage, tearing roofs off buildings and knocking out power to much of the island.
Iniki was an incredibly powerful storm, and after just 45 minutes of the storm crossing Kauai, 14,000 structures were either damaged or destroyed.
The south shore of Kauai and the west coast of Oahu received a severe pounding by high waves.
Iniki was not only the costliest and strongest hurricane on record in the Hawaiian Islands, that was the case by far.
It looks like a white
caused an
snow.
estimated $1.8 billion in damage. And on some parts of the island, power wasn't restored for months. Since 1950, there have been only 3 direct destructive hits by hurricanes in Hawaii, making this a very rare phenomenon. With timely warnings issued, only 7 people died in the storm, but it reminded the people who call Hawaii home that even they are not immune to deadly hurricanes.
You know, a lot of folks still have the idea that right after the storm passes, that government's going to come to the rescue. And there's some truth in that. Government will come to the rescue, but it may not be in those precious hours right after the storm passes.
I'm meteorologist Jeff Morrow, the Weather Channel.
Well, the video pretty much explained it all. Anyway, number 10, Big Thompson Canyon Flash Flood of 1976. Coloradans were celebrating the 100th anniversary of their state's admission to the Union when one of the worst flash flood disasters in U.S. history struck. beautiful, beautiful sunset. Like, yeah. Space. Sorry, checking out my ads. Back to the, It was the eve of Colorado Centennial. Saturday, July 31st, 1976. Slow-moving afternoon thunderstorms developed over the mountains near Estes Park, dumping torrential rainfall over the upper reaches of Big Thompson Canyon. Within just a few hours, nearly a foot of rain fell. Downstream, 4,000 residents, campers, and visitors in the canyon were enjoying a summer weekend of cookouts and camaraderie, largely unaware of the deluge upstream. As dusk fell, a 20-foot wall of water began rushing downstream into areas that had received no rain at all. In an era before Doppler radar, advanced flood forecasting, and cellular telephones, the only warning for many was a word of mouth from local patrolmen. Okay, that's pretty much the rundown of that. Haha, I love that ad thing. Place ads with gadgets. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. I like space though. Anyway, number 9, Good Friday, earthquake and tsunami of 1964. The ground sank 11 feet. That is scary. Here we go. Alright, here we go. The most intense quake ever measured in the United States and all of North America, the magnitude 9.2 Good Friday earthquake was a powerful jolt, not just to Alaskans who lived through it, but to all Americans who were reminded of the devastation the earth can unleash from below. The trembler, which rumbled for 4 terrifying minutes, struck near the coast of Prince William Sound at 5:36 p.m. Alaska time on March 1964, late in the daylight hours of a Good Friday. Some of the most jaw-dropping visible effects of the quake were seen in Anchorage, some 75 miles to the northwest. And there's another picture here. Now, we've all heard about, this before, so let's move on. The tsunami was responsible for far more fatalities than the quake itself. 32 people on the Valdez dock perished when an underwater landslide and tsunami caused it to collapse. The entire town would later relocate 4 miles away to safer ground. Okay. Number 8, Oakland Hills forest fire of 1991. That looks pretty scary. Oh, look! It just went up a degree. It's 41 degrees now out there. Same thing it was this morning. When I watched the bus stop wearing my stupid coat. Okay. While the Great Chicago Fire of 1871 is the fire following the 1906 San Francisco earthquake were most destructive, the Oakland Hills firestorm of 1991 remains the most devastating urban wildfire in U.S. history. California is notorious for its wildfires, and October is one of the most fire-prone months in the state. High-pressure systems often set up over the Great Basin, causing warm, dry winds to blow west toward the ocean, keeping moist marine air away. That's pretty much all you can say about forest fires. Something happened. And here's another video.
It was the most powerful windstorm to hit the Pacific Northwest in the 20th century. The Big Blow, as it was called, began as a typhoon, became energized by the jet stream, and exploded into an epic cycle. In more than 50 years, there hasn't been another storm like it. The peak wind gusts estimated above 170 miles per hour, equal to the strength of a Category 3 hurricane. Former Weather Channel meteorologist Buzz Bernard was a college student at the time on a trip from Washington State to Portland.
I remember the bus trip going south in the teeth of the storm. It began rocking back and forth in the winds.
I
also remember it was pitch black. There were so many trees down on the streets, virtually, travel was virtually stopped. To see those kind of winds in the interior was stunning.
As the storm followed, people scrambled to take shelter. Notes from the Corvallis, Oregon weather station at the height of the storm read, "Abandoned." The damage was immense. In Lake Oswego, Oregon, the storm damaged some 70% of homes. 1 million people were left without power, some for weeks, and more than 40 people died. The storm also brought damaging winds as far as Washington State and heavy rains to Northern California, and even delayed the World Series between San Francisco Giants and the New York Yankees.
Candlestick Park might as well be named Candlestick Pond, as the clay-packed subsoil prevented the playing field from drying out.
The Columbus Day storm changed the landscape of the Pacific Northwest. Thousands of trees were knocked down, and more than 11 billion board feet of timber was lost. Many mountain roads that exist today were built during the recovery efforts. For the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Todd Santos.
Okay. Number 6. Getting there. Oh, Mount St. Helens eruption of 1980. The eruption of Mount St. Helens, which we are going to show you more volcano videos, which is our topic today, on YouTube later, on May 18, 1980, is by far the deadliest and costliest volcanic event in U.S. history. In the months leading up to the eruption, thousands of small earthquakes and a noticeable bulge in the volcano signaled that something was happening inside. The governor of Washington declared a red zone, forbidding entrance to the area around the volcano on April 30th. On May 17th, officials allowed property owners to enter the zone to retrieve what property they could carry out. Another excursion was scheduled for 10 a.m. the next morning. A magnitude of 5.1 earthquake struck the volcano at 8:32 a.m. on May 18th. Whoa. Within seconds, the volcano's bulge and even its summit slid away in the largest landslide ever recorded on Earth. A wall of debris up to 600 feet deep tumbled westward for 14 miles down the North Fork Tulare River. Please get out of my way, I'm trying to read. The landslide drastically reduced pressure on the building chamber of magma inside the volcano, leading to a series of explosive releases. A cloud of rocks, ash, deadly gas, and steam blasted north, out the side of the mountain, traveling 17 miles. Here's the part you really want to listen to. The violent blast knocked 1,300 feet off of the height of Mount St. Helens summit and shot ash and gas 15 miles vertically into the atmosphere in just 15 minutes. Hundreds of millions of tons of ash spread east across the United States, blackening the sky 250 miles away in Spokane. 57 people lost their lives, most from hyperventilation due to inhalation of hot volcanic ash. Damage is estimated at $2 to $3 billion, adjusted for inflation. This includes 4 billion board feet of timber, enough to build 150,000 homes, a quarter of which was salvaged, hundreds of homes near the volcano, and over 150 miles of highways. That's a lot of highways. Now we're on to the top 5. The Alton Mountain Earthquake and Tsunami of 1946. The Great Earthquake of 1946 was not as strong as its successor 18 years later, see number 9, but it proved a pivotal moment in the history of emergency preparedness. The earthquake itself was relatively harmless despite its intensity. The tremor, whose magnitude had been analyzed anywhere from 7.1 to 8.2, struck Anamak Island in Alaska's Aleutian Island chain on April 1st, 1946. Damage in this remote area was relatively minor from the quake itself. However, the quake unleashed a ferocious Pacific-wide tsunami. Now, this is the good part, people. The 5-story Scotch Cap Lighthouse, which survived the quake despite being very near the epicenter, was obliterated by the tsunami, despite being built 40 feet above sea level. So those waves must have gone high. Unfortunately for the 5 men who perished in the lighthouse, the tsunami reached at least 115 feet. Hilo was especially hard hit. 96 people perished as the city's waterfront was destroyed. Waves over 30 feet high crashed into Maui and Oahu as well. In all, 159 Hawaiians died in the tsunami. That's a lot. Number 4, Northridge Earthquake of 1994. This is the one you saw on the front page. Looks pretty bad. In the hours before daylight on January 17, 1994, Southern Californians were jolted out of bed by what would become the costliest earthquake in U.S. history. So this is probably the last earthquake. The hypnocenter of the quake was directly under the Los Angeles neighborhoods of Reseda and Northridge on a previously undiscovered fault in the heavily populated San Fernando Valley. But the 4:30 a.m. timing of this magnitude 6.7 tremor may have been a minor blessing. While 57 people died and well over 5,000 were injured in the quake, some of the most shocking damage occurred to facilities that would have been carrying far more people had the quake struck during business hours. Number 3, the Great Fire of 1910. Ooh, looks like it's done a lot. As record heat baked much of the country this year, particularly in March, we at the Weather Channel noticed a lot of standing heat. Records from 1910 being broken. Indeed, 1910 was a warm and extremely dry year for much of the U.S., and this set the stage for the largest fire.
Yep.
Hey, Ray, go take a shower.
Okay, pause it.
Time is over, Ray.
Are we on?
Yeah.
People, this is an emergency. This is breaking news. Breaking now. Tropical storm Raphael forms in the Caribbean. Let's watch.
What?
we
We're
go.
booming.
You what?
News.
Downgraded to a tropical depression. There's really no surprise there. It is in a very unfavorable environment right now for development, and in fact, it is being torn apart by very strong winds aloft. The typical haze advisory on Patty, and it is a 35 miles per hour.
Get your own spit to yourself.
I didn't spit on you.
Basically stationary. And if you look very closely at the satellite image, this is where the low-level center is, right about there, and the cloud pattern is just strewn out and thousands of miles to the northeast. So this is a system that is being beaten up by very strong winds. And if you sort of take a broader view, zoom out a little bit, we can show you exactly what's going on. This upper level cloud pattern right here extends all the way out across the northern Atlantic. And what's been happening is a jet stream has been moving in from the west and basically sits right on top of this system. Even another dip in the jet stream has come down and is now influencing this whole pattern. And so what we're seeing in addition to that is in a high pressure system near the surface over the Great Lakes has some low level winds associated with that are cutting underneath this jet stream. So you have opposing winds. You have very strong winds aloft that are moving out of the southwest and low level winds coming out of the northeast. So it is just getting stretched and torn apart by this wind shear is what we call it. So Tropical Depression Patty will not survive very much longer. We think it will disintegrate likely in the next 1 to 2 days. Here's the forecast from the GFS. This is one model's depiction of what we think is going to happen, but is effectively a consensus of what the other models suggest. It will likely move to the southwest over the next 24 hours over the Bahamas and weaken, perhaps bring in some showers over South Florida, but really...
That's all we need to see for now. But now we need to go to our topic of the day, which was volcanoes. And surprisingly, not really, but surprisingly, we are now going to do, you know what? Volcanoes!
Orange.
Right after I check out all this stuff the Cartoon
Your
Network
grandma's
uploaded.
phone better to film.
Amazing orange. Amazing orange. He's orange. He's got a lot of friends. Okay, here we go. Right.
What's all that up there?
Some band called The Machine.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Here we go. Okay. New. You get a lot of tornadoes and hurricanes and all kinds of things on YouTube. The one thing you might never get, though, is this kind of footage? This is live Barbie news coverage of a man's narrow escape from a deadly lava tornado. Let's watch. It's volcano week. Stop it. No, stop it. I'm not happy about it. Just stop. What?
Stop putting your garbage on the counter again.
Phone issues. Okay, next.
Okay.
Watch this.
And the first time you put something embarrassing on there about us, it's going on there. It's going on YouTube.
Bye.
Do you understand?
Bye.
Did you hear me?
Bye.
You want me to tell him to put it on there?
No,
What?
bye.
Did you hear what I said?
Yes, bye.
Why? What are you watching?
This is so
We're doing the
embarrassing.
news, Mom. You're gonna be on the internet if you don't stop now.
Why?
We're filming.
Well, you don't even get in my face. You come out. Bye.
He's the one with the
Bye.
camera.
Bye. What is your problem, girl?
God.
I can look at whatever I want to. Ha ha.
We got it. You're cutting that out.
Not good. I'll put Grandma on there. Grandma wants to see it badly. There's something we can do.
Okay, next.
We made Barbie videos. You should have made one with the dollhouse. Get the pictures up on YouTube. What's the pictures?
Where is it? Did I pass it?
Oh, I'm moving with school pictures.
There it is. Lava boulders. And this, I know, is probably fake. You gotta see it. It's fake, but it's really, really funny. Of course it's fake. Looks like some kind of cartoon jumping into lava. So just watch.
Oh, we got your first one, right?
Please stop. looks like we're switching from volcanoes to suicide as we watch this threatening video. Okay. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was supposed to be funny.
What's something funny? And anybody can see it's really funny. It's a funny video of Emos. And the kids say, what's up?
That was not very funny at all. No. Let's see what this is about.
It's Barbie and
This is actually a deleted scene from Toy Story 3. They flew a paper army dude out the window. Nice.
Alright, what is he doing?
Let's see what this is. This is probably real, guys.
There's another boy on there.
Oh. They're gonna plummet 205 feet in the air.
It looks like my hair.
Does not appear to be at the tallest point yet.
Oh, check it out.
Okay. Deadliest roller coaster crash ever. Probably fake, but this has got to be the most epic fail of all time.
Oh, they put a picture up there for roller coasters. We will get this up there soon. You can try it from Grandma's phone, as it has a USB. It can hook to your computer.
Okay, back to more news. So,
You can do it by phone.
a news update on Tiny Juno, our YouTube channel. Our new Barbie News Studio 9 page. Yep, now we have a daily news segment with Michaela the Barbie, me. These are 10 to 49-minute videos, including real weather reports, YouTube videos, and some special weather alerts.
No more fake stuff.
Noodle. Sometimes we do weather, sometimes we are completely random. Claire?
We're not going to take any more fake stuff.
Yeah, that's lame. and all about the new upcoming series Wings Will Fly. We do not have a set date. We are currently working on the script because this was a very hard thing to decide on.
You're very sorry. This is probably the loaded up, sis.
Okay. But you get it, right? You get it. A bunch of Miku stuff I've been doing. I think there's only one. Whoa, be careful. How to get kicked out of Walmart.
Sorry, it's going to be loud.
This is the number one video of the day. How to get kicked out of Walmart.
Brian, this is Donovan. It's 8:43 on Friday night, and what do you do on Friday nights? You go to Walmart. That's what we do. Right there, baby. Mm-hmm. Let's cause some trouble.
Oh, it feels so good.
Walmart.
We're in.
Flippy flashes, anyone?
Right. Mixing up all of these colors,
going to be
as you see here.
Don't do it.
Don't.
Very irresponsible. This looks more like a red to me. Let's just go ahead and put it over there.
Where's the lime?
This here looks like it belongs over in this section. It's more of that color, I think.
Alright, so let's just check this out. We're gonna be building a fort, and
Yeah,
we're not actually gangsters, but we're gonna pretend to be gangsters because we do.
Yeah, I like your do. Okay.
So this is what's happening. We're gonna build a fort somewhere in one of these aisles. So, hi, how are you? He didn't like us. Get in these tubs.
Okay. The first time we're getting in a tub. What are you doing? Just get inside. Ryan, move. What's the point of this?
So we're in a shopping cart.
What are you going to do? Tear up that
We're not total hooligans. We are purchasing these squirt guns here, and we're not here just for pleasure.
Fort, anyone? Got yelled at by some random guy. Don't know who it is. But he's like, hey, what are you doing? And so we're like, let's not be here right now. What a good idea. Leaving the Walmart. That was a good day. Not really. We're changing clothes and going back in.
Anyone else want to buy this shirt online? Donovan made this personally.
$5 a shirt, and then the camera died.
We have that line up there. Kicked out Walmart.
Try to get kicked out of Walmart again.
So we're going to Walmart here to pick up our tools.
Yeah, we already watched that. And now on to our last segment because we're almost at our limit. The YouTube Mini Minute. This Mini Minute today is brought to you by Toyota and Toyota Care. Because we care everywhere. Dun dun. I made that up. Okay, and now our music moment. Yeah, I like watching this sometimes. I actually just came here to go here. This is really funny. If you're into it, of course. Here's the music of the day. It's not an actual music video, but it just fit the theme so well that we had to.
Pressing the side again.
You put it back in this mouth. And that, folks, was extreme toothbrushing. I did not turn the shuffle on. Who turned the shuffle on? One more couldn't hurt. Okay, I'm sick of this. Someone turned on my shuffle. Now I'm mad. Stopped turning on my shuffle.
It don't spark you.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for today, folks. I'm Michaela the Barbie, and this was your Daily News Post. We hope you enjoyed today's segment of Barbie News Studio 9. Until then, I'll be here waiting. And don't forget to check out our website, prophecybarbies.com. PORFECY.com. Yep, that is, again, PROFECY Barbies.com. We hope you enjoy. And don't forget to take the How Well Do You Prophecy Sweepstakes now. Or click choice answer 1. The second question to answer Weber to be automatically entered in our sweepstakes to be on one of our videos. Just describe your Barbie and we'll get a doll to match. And your doll will be featured in our video.
And Michaela, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you better see it.
She probably doesn't.
And everybody lives in the sea.
Okay. Made your point. Close the stinking camera.
And Grandma, have a great